You've got one Diane has two N's, and this one has one N. Welcome along, Diane.
Hi, everybody.
Good to see you.
And so I just wanted to say it's fantastic to be back in Melbourne, away from the warm weather of Brisbane. Anyway, welcome and thank you for everyone for joining us on Zoom. I really wanted to take a moment to express my gratitude for the privilege of being able to speak to you this morning. And we're talking about our spiritual toolkit. And of course, I had mentioned in the blurb that we teach practical Christianity, and we do with that with some tools that we include for everyday life. And we hope that our members are engaging with these and bringing them into their life to create the joy that they desire. And then I questioned, are we though? Really, the depth of affirmative prayer or beliefs, thoughts and feelings have a huge impact on these prayers with subsequent outcomes. I find that we can learn the tools, but are we really using them? Are we achieving the things in our life we want? And so what's happening with that then? How can we make this experience work for us? So let's start and think about all of the tools in this spiritual toolkit that we have. Of course, I've already mentioned we have denials and affirmations, but what else do we have? Well, we have 5 principles. We have God is good, everywhere present. Therefore, we are inherently good. We know that our thoughts create our world, that they become things. We also know that our prayer and meditation can help us and support us with that. But the 5th one, and my favorite, is, of course, it's not enough to know this stuff. You actually have to live it and do it. So we have our 5 principles, and they're really helpful. We then have those 12 powers, and sometimes I group them together so that I can remember them. And, you know, we start with faith, wisdom, and love, the key ones, and imagination, zeal, enthusiasm, and understanding. And then strength and will and power or dominion over things. And of course, a really helpful one or 3, order, release, and life. We also have daily word, which is wonderful. And it's beautiful reading today. And like Bill said, it's quite amazing. And of course, every Sunday, for interest of others, Paul Hasselbeck produces a Sunday special with the permission of Daily Word that is a slight variation. And I haven't looked at his this week because this one we had from Daily Word was so great. Then, of course, there's silent unity. And in Melbourne, you have an intention group. Of course, there's my favorite, meditation and prayer. And I mean affirmative prayer. And importantly, we do this within a supportive and wonderful community. Remember Phyllis's recent message with us about the communities we belong to? You can see this toolkit has quite a few items in it. What about the delivery of that, the use of it? Well, we bring these to you in talks and lessons. Unity of Melbourne each Sunday provides a wonderful opportunity to gain a new thought, idea, or perspective on things. Perhaps a lesson. And of course, some meditation practice in each service. Through the Unity National School, there are classes offered all year, and a wonderful intensive week retreat happening that was only a couple of weeks ago. I spoke with Unity of Melbourne recently, reminding them also of the benefits of revisiting Unity 101 classes and going back to basics and how often that can be helpful. And then, of course, there's our wonderful Unity leaders in Australia and New Zealand. Their message each Sunday, their words of wisdom, and their commitment to teaching all of the Unity classes, etc. They also offer prayer support counselling, should you request it. Remember, these spiritual tools are available to use each day and every moment of the day. That was a pretty long summary, wasn't it? Because we have quite a good toolkit. And that's our spiritual tools. But let's go back now and have a look at some, or a lot more closely at a couple. For instance, denials and affirmations, because we talk about them a lot. And Unity has taught us the ability to recognize our thoughts, and when we are having things that we don't really want to have, that we can deny any power in those thoughts And we can replace those with an affirmation. Like, you know, I think I'm tired. First, we suggest that you might want to say, well, I feel tired. Move away from that I am statement. And then when you're realizing that you're having that common sentence of I feel tired, you might want to look more closely at it. Perhaps you could just deny any power in feeling, you know, tired, and, you know, look at something that will help you a little bit more. Because here's the thing, that I am part, that's your spiritual being. That's who we are. It's the divine of us. So we want to have some really good sentences after that, like I am love. So, okay, we realize and we're immediately starting to say, I feel tired. But again, that's not really getting us where we want to be. And we want to gain our energy back. So what we can say is, I deny any power in thoughts of feelings about being tired. And we can replace that with an affirmation. I'm awake, alive, alert, and filled with the joy of life. This was one of the greatest affirmations and tricks I learned when I first came to Unity back in 2003. And many of you here today will remember Clarice, who had quite an impact on me when I first came. And I couldn't resist talking to her about her swimming. The first day she told me, and I don't remember how old she was then, but she mentioned that she had been swimming, getting up swimming 3 times a week, 6 a.m. in the morning, and swimming about 30 laps each day. I fairly fainted. I was like, how did she really? You know, anyway, a wonderful lady. And I then got to know her story quite well. And of course, at age 75, she had decided that she would start swimming. Now, her story is that she, of course, could swim. She taught the children when they were little in the beach, in the sea, but she'd actually never been swimming inside a swimming pool. So she decides she's going to go to the swimming pool. So she digs out an old togs, goes to the swimming pool, jumps in, starts swimming, and almost feels like she's having a heart attack part the way down the pool. A couple of ladies saw her and sort of were like, are you okay? And she's like, no. And she's clinging to the edge, and they helped her get out. And she's, you know, I can't, what am I doing? But typical of her style and her Unity years, she sat there for a while and she kind of thought about it some more and realized that she hadn't really done this for a while. So of course it was going to have an impact on her. And from there, she gets out of the pool and goes and goes home, decides she's definitely going to do this. So she affirms by going and buying new swimming togs. She goes down the shop, buys new bathers, gets herself sorted, and goes back to the swimming pool the next morning at 6 o'clock, because, you know, that's what you do if you're going to swim laps, I think, or if you're going to do that. So off she goes, and she started. And so from then on, she started going 3 times a week, she says, and she would do up to 50 laps. Anyway, when she was around 80, she started to develop some heart trouble, but she was still swimming. One day, while coming out of the water, a gentleman decided to pop over and ask her if she was in the masters swimming. Oh no, she says, I'm too old for that. And he kept ringing until she was 86 years old. He joined and greeted her and said to her, I've entered you in the Australian Championships this year. They're in Victoria, and I want you to come and swim in the 50, the 100 and the 200 metres. And she said she nearly fell off her tracks, thought, like, how dare he do this? What is this? Okay, she's now 86 and she swims. It's only about a month or so away from the games when he told her about this. And she was very cross with him, but she went along, see, more action. She stepped up for that 5th principle. What did she do? She broke the record for backstroke, and she couldn't believe it. The next year, of course, she broke the record again, and they were hers. And then she kept swimming. I met her, I think she was probably about 90 when I met her. I happened to know Clarice in another way because her niece was actually a dancing friend of mine, and we'd been friends since our children were in school. So we'd been friends for quite some years. Clarice says that the secret to thinking young is to keep active. Look after yourself, not only physically, but mentally as well. She said she did crossword puzzles and played cards once a week. She said, I advise people to walk a lot, keep moving, otherwise you lose it. And it's so true. Clarice passed at the age of 103, and I was fortunate enough to be at her funeral and speak and tell a little part of that story. For me, it was a wonderful example of learning a lot about denials and affirmations, and then living it and living those 5 principles and being able to do that. She also taught me this trick about a song that she sung every morning. And she told me that she was doing this for 6 months before she actually really saw the difference. And it was a lesson again about affirmations. And she would sing, I am awake, alive, alert, and filled with the joy of life. And my body knows it and my body shows it. And so I can remember over different stages of my life for the last 20 years with Unity, I've often come back to that myself when things are going on. I find it a really great affirmation. Sometimes I've added it into other things like abundance and said things like, I'm aware of the abundance in my life and my bank knows it and my bank shows it. So I just adapt it when I need to do. So notice, however, that Clarice stopped and thought about that situation that first time she swam, and she shifted her paradigm. She understood what was happening. She took the time to stop and to look and listen and think about, what are you thinking? Is it true? Is it a possibility? Also notice that Clarice did not do this just once. Every morning she repeated her statement, I'm awake, alive, alert, filled with the joy of life, and my body knows it and my body shows it. She said after 6 months that really became easier for her to do things like getting up 3 times a week at 6 in the morning and go swimming at a very senior age, I must say. Persistent, huh? So it's important. More knowledge, more wisdom, more understanding helps, but you need to put things into action. Denials, they help us, albeit we really invest some time in considering where those unwanted thoughts and feelings come from and look for the shift for our paradigm. Yes, change. Clarice went on to swim in the Masters Championships in Victoria, Australia, and won many gold medals. You can check out and look up her story online. Back to us. So it takes a little bit more than just stating a denial, than an affirmation. You have to really think about it. You have to really think about it. Stop and think about what is happening in your thoughts and feelings and your external experience. And notice if those thoughts and feelings are giving you the outcomes you're looking for, and then get clear about what it is you want. Then look, okay, what is happening that I would like different? What are the possibilities? And more than that, what do I desire? What do I really want to have? And then listen. And this part's really the important part. Listen. Asking the right questions is the number 2. It's key. But then you have to listen for the answer. And you may even wish to take a moment and connect with your heart or meditate for a bit. Listen carefully for those divine ideas. Do not think about what you think is possible, because that is limited. And we often go out and start judging with our ego. Can I do that, etc. But listen, wait, and you will get an answer. Now it's time to do those denial statements and then to construct an affirmative affirmation to replace that old paradigm, that old thinking. The challenge is now 2 things. One is the new beliefs, the new feeling. Actually, best to connect again to the heart and really feel this desire, this new experience that you wish to have. Feel how that new experience feels and feel it as if you're having it right now. Our belief is about ourselves. Our faith is that we can have those possibilities. This idea of identity of who we are and what we are You see, the paradigm shifting is simple, it's easy, and it's available to everyone. But not everyone succeeds. And most of all, we are still all practicing so that we can succeed even more often. The thing is, we need to move our identity up. We had a wonderful prayer about praying from a higher level in our thinking and opening our heart for our beautiful World Day of Prayer on Thursday. An elevated mind, it said. So that divine being of us, if that's our spiritual being, and we're spiritual beings having a human experience, being both fully spiritual and fully human, as Paul Hasselbeck often says, the ego thinks as if we are a mother, a father, a bus driver, a teacher, a nurse, or whatever it is we describe ourselves as. But we are not our egos. And our identity lives and belongs in a higher self, in our superconscious self, in our divine self. That is what we are. We are spiritual beings. Who we are, our identity is also living there. When we move our identity of who I am is to a separate higher thinking, then we access all possibilities. Our ego is limited. Our identity, our I am, is not. This helps move from the old paradigm, the creating of the new experience. Because our identity is not attached to either, we can realize that we have just been experienced a paradigm and an outer experience of one possibility. And now it's easy that we can move to another possibility. And we have our identity, our spiritual being. We can simply choose a new experience from all possibilities. So the action would be to do some physical demonstration, to move, set a goal, or something similar. What we can do, though, is if we move our identity to another level of thinking, we can see clearly that where we're at our current point right now, is what we can be attached to. And we can then set somewhere new possibility we want to go to. But if we stay in this mode of reaction and response, we tend to oscillate between that because we move from what we know to what we want, and we start moving towards it, but we get pulled back. That whole movement of oscillating between those things is not really helping us. Moving our identity away and creating something that we want from a possibility that comes to us as a divine idea, that is what we can actually do to allow us to see the new possibility and create some tension in moving towards that, moving away from this oscillation area of what we have to what we want and moving that direction, to creating the fact that we have an identity and we can move up to that, and we can create some tension and learning to take the steps towards it. Just remember always that if you have a new possibility in your mind, a new divine idea, it came to you and it's for you. The challenge is remembering that it came with faith. We don't want to get into any decisions or choices about how we're going to do that. So if that divine idea came to you, the mere fact that you had this divine idea means it's available to you, even if you do not know how. As one of my trainers says, those cursed hows are none of my business. So that brings us to faith. And Mark, well, it's mentioned several times in the Bible, but particularly in Mark 11, it says, truly I tell you, if you say to this mountain, be taken up and thrown into the sea, and if you do not doubt in your heart, but believe that what you are saying will come to pass, it will be done for you. So I tell you, whatever you ask in prayer, believe that you have received, and it will be yours. So now that's faith, and of course that's one of our 12 powers. Faith is the hope of things wished for and the unseen. Remembering we do not know how, that's okay. The hows will come along as they come along in lessons, and we learn to grow with those. Lessons that we sometimes don't always know what they're going to be, But we do know, if we're moving towards that possibility, that they're supporting us. One concept or idea, that life comes through me, I've talked about previously. I am the experience of life, the divine expressing. Therefore, life happens for me to experience it, to learn and to grow. As one of my current mentors says, the universe conspires to bring me and my life success and happiness. And he lives from that point of belief. So I'm aspiring to that one too. Our faith, our belief grows, and with that, all of our paradigms can shift. Of course, it can be helpful to pull on those other spiritual tools, the 12 powers or abilities that we can have at different stages of our journey, especially things like order, elimination, and letting things go. There are lots of helpful tools in there. As we receive, we acknowledge, and we always give thanks. We remember that too. We think, feel, and know the gratitude. And it can be helpful in that state to give our thanks and feel the gratitude for our new possibility showing up in the now, right now, happening for us right now. Say thanks for having the thing, and the thing shows up. Remember though, we say thanks with feeling and faith. The heart, it is said, has more power, more neurons, more energy than our brain. So always engage the heart with massive feeling, as you do with any of this work, particularly using that gratitude state. So where am I up to? Okay, yeah, those spiritual toolkit items. This talk today I've mentioned so many of these already, how to use them, how to shift, and how to come and have affirmations work for us. There are two other things I want to mention. And of course, I've been up at the intensive in Brisbane in the warmth, teaching meditation practices and prayer and meditation. And that's the key to a lot of these things. It can help us move into and connect with spirit and bring our awareness to our oneness. And we do that in the silence. So remember to stop, look and listen. And remember that you'll always get the guidance and the answers. I know this happened for me, and as I mentioned, I've been traveling, and it amazes me. I can drive all over the country. I do the GPS thing. It's all fine. I get wherever I'm going. I've just driven all the way up, well, to Brisbane and then up to Hervey Bay and then back and having time off. Got into the shopping centre at Kippa Ring though, and in my journey, I'd seen this particular church, and I'd seen it a few times, and I kept thinking, well, I don't know anything about that church. I've never heard of that name before, and wonder what their beliefs are and where they're at. Anyway, I'm at Kippa Ring Shopping Centre, which I think Kippa Ring is a suburb, or maybe it's just Kippa. Anyway, running around Queensland, I'm good. Get inside the shopping centre, park the car, it's okay. And this shopping centre has 2 levels. An upper level, and then you sort of do some escalators down to an extended part of the shopping centre. And so I'm down in this extended part, quite a distance from where the car is. And I picked up a new pair of shoes that I wanted because I realised I needed some summery shoes up there, and came into the part of the shopping centre, and I suddenly stood there and I'm looking at all the different aisles of the shopping centre. I'm thinking, can't see the escalators. What am I doing? Very confused and lost. And I shake my head and I think, it's crazy. I can go anywhere around Australia and I get there and I'm fine. But as soon as I get in a shopping centre or a car park, it's like, where's the car? How do I get out of here? So this lady sees me and she comes up and started chatting and said, are you okay? And I said, well, no, I'm lost in the shopping centre. So she was very helpful, but she also was an attendee of this particular church that I'd been thinking about. So like I said, the answers will come, and we had quite a chat and I learned quite a lot about her. And I'm not sure if all of Melbourne is aware, but many others are in Unity, that I have a bit of an interest in promoting Unity and growing it, and a lot of marketing interest. And so I'm interested to hear what other churches are doing, and the curiosity comes up. So it was a very interesting conversation because I wanted to know about this particular church. I wanted to get out of the shopping centre. That was helpful. And I was interested to hear what they were doing to promote their church and how they were growing their numbers, which she said they were doing. So you can get all of those answers, and the things can happen for you If you're just doing the regular toolkit stuff, and particularly if you're having those times of connecting with the oneness that was in you, and understanding that life can conspire, or the universe, spirit conspires to bring you that happiness and that success that you're after. So remember those 5 principles. God is good. Therefore, we are inherently good. And the other 3 I like to call action statements. Thoughts become things. Prayer and meditation is the way. And it's not enough to know this, we need to live it. We must engage with the learning and then doing the learning and then living it in our daily life. So just to remember, I am divine. A reminder to take your idea of your identity away from whatever is happening in your world right now, if this is not the outcomes and the experiences you want to have. And a reminder that any divine ideas that come to you, they don't come to everybody. Possibilities everywhere. The universe and spirit has within it all of those wonderful possibilities that keep rolling out in our world. Everything comes from our imagination. Everything that was created in our world was created in someone's imagination first. So if that divine idea, that image, whatever comes to you, then it's a possibility for you, because it doesn't go to everybody. We all have some area in our life that we can claim a new experience, whether it be in health, vitality, well-being, or an abundance in some other part of our life. And for each time and each step with our Unity Spiritual Toolkit, that's available to us always. So I wanted to engage now with one of those toolkit items and invite you all to connect with the chair where you are and feel comfortable where you're sitting, so that we can move into the meditation step and allow ourselves to invite the silence in as we connect with spirit in this process, in this time, knowing that the realization afterwards will always come to us and we will have the answers we require. So please be comfortable where you are. Feel that physical place and relax in the chair or whatever is supporting you. And allow yourself this expression of relaxation and the connection of meditation. Inviting you now to relax into your body, gently closing your eyes and your eyelids, allowing your eyelids to relax, or lower your gaze if that's more comfortable. Feel the whole physical being you are, sitting comfortably, supported where you are. Gently allowing each part of your body to relax as we move from the top of the head, from our scalp, top of the head, back of the head, behind our ears and ears, all relaxing. Allow the face to relax, the forehead, the eyes and eyelids, the cheeks, face, jawbone, relaxing the tongue and the roof of the mouth. Allowing the throat and neck to relax. Starting with the top of the shoulders as we relax down our arms. Relaxing the top of the arms, the elbows, the lower arms. Relaxing our wrists, hands and fingers. Allowing that physical relaxation to move down our backbone, reaching out to all of our parts of our body. Feeling the upper back and shoulders relax, the chest, upper chest relax. Moving further down still to the mid-back and our midriff and solar plexus area relaxing. Relaxing our lower back, our abdomen, our hips, our buttocks, and now our whole torso and body is relaxed. And now to the legs. Relaxing our upper legs, our knees. Gently relaxing the calves and lower legs. moving to relaxing the ankles and feet and arches, wiggling those toes and letting our whole body relax, the toes relaxing comfortably. As we take our focus to our heart center, I've mentioned today how that heart center is so important to us. Such energy comes from that. We can feel the energy of love within our heart center, relaxing our breathing and observing that as we feel within our heart. We know this is where our passions and desires come. It's our connection. And as we move through, letting that love center spread throughout our body into our world, we take a concentration of a moment of love as we move gently, quietly into the meditation moment, inviting the silence, inviting that silence into our time together now. Coming back gently, reconnecting with our physical form and our physical body. As we feel the gratitude in our hearts for this time connecting with spirit, with our oneness, knowing and experiencing the silence, or at least inviting them in. We're grateful for this time, and we give thanks for the realizations that we know will come. Coming physically back now into the room, I'd like you to open your eyes to feelings of gratitude in your heart.
Thank you, Diane. We'll keep this space, this silence, as we have a song which seems to fit perfectly for this